Hello my SherBears. Today's video is going to be a Ride or Die Revisited tag. I actually saw this done on Jen Luvs Reviews and I thought that's a great idea. I did the Ride or Die. I did it with a bunch of ladies from MAB, which is Middle-Aged Beauties. I actually asked them to do it again. Like, let's see if these were really your Ride or Die. So I went through and I found what products I had said were my Ride or Die and look to see if they're still my Ride or Die. So I will get right into this because there's a lot of products in this one video. Because we did it as middle-aged beauties, as you know, we are older women and we have other issues besides just what makeup we're putting on our face. So we did do our favorite skincare items as well, and I started with my skincare items. And back in September 7th, 2016, which is when I did this tag originally, I had my cleanser as the Murad Clarifying Cleanser, and I still have the Murad Clarifying Cleanser. It's just my favorite overall cleanser until my skin changes so drastically that I can't use it. It probably will always be. Next I had serums, and my first serum was my Murad Acne Clearing Treatment. It's still the same. I don't have it in front of me. Really don't want to run and get it. But I still use it on a daily basis, sometimes twice a day if my skin's acting up. I do still use it. Another serum I had in there was Mary Kay Vitamin C Serum. I do not have it anymore. It did go bad and I have not repurchased it. Next I had my Avon A New Clinical Line Eraser with Retinol. I still have this. It's not my Ride or Die though, because I switched between this and the ordinary retinol, which is the 2% advanced retinoid. Just goes to show that you can find other things, and this is cheaper than that. So next I had eye cream, which was my Mary Kay Voluform eye cream. I did say I only used it at night because it is too creamy. I'm out of that. I have not repurchased it. In that time, I found one that I love so much better, and that's the Ren Keep Yours and Beautiful Instant Brightening Beauty Shot Eye Lift. And that's what it looks like. And there's where I am in it. You use so little of this, but this is like the best eye cream I've ever used. I also didn't have a daytime moisturizer at that time that I could say, yes, this is my Ride or Die, could not live without. I, however, now do, and it's an expensive one. This is the Ole Henriksen Balance Counterbalance Mattifying Moisture Cream. I love this stuff. I love the smell of it. It reminds me of Noxzema. That's the only thing I can come up with. It reminds me of Noxzema. I do use this during the day because I still do use my favorite nighttime cream, which is the Mary Kay Oil-Free Hydrating Gel. This is a gel formula that it's just wonderful. It soaks in, doesn't leave you feeling greasy. It's perfect for oilier skin. And my last skincare item that I did have in there was something everybody should be worried about and have in their arsenal, is my sunscreen, and this is the original Sprout. It's the same kind as I was using back then a year and a half ago. Now we'll get on to the products that everybody wants to know about. Back then, it was Jaclyn Hill that developed this tag, and everybody followed around her rules. Obviously, there are some items that she uses I do not use. I do not use liquid liner. I do not use false eyelashes. So those things were null and void from mine. But I did notice that there was a few things that weren't added in when I was going through that somehow did not get put into the ride or die. First in your list of stuff that you're going to be putting on your face in order to prepare yourself for all the beautiful makeup is your primer. Back then it was Smashbox Photo Finish More Than Primer Blemish Control Primer. It's oil-free. This would still be my ride or die if it wasn't discontinued. I cannot find this anywhere, so I'm hoping that they're just like repackaging it and they'll be back, but I don't think so. I've been looking for a backup for a while and I still have not gotten one, so I'm gonna have to say that this is done. So I have two that are kind of tied for it, and it's depending on what I want from my look. If I want a thicker primer, I'm always going to go with my Joe Fresh. It's drugstore, super affordable, but can only be got in Canada. Sorry, that's the only place. I've looked for it online for American, and it's only available in Canada. So this is the matte primer. I have tried the oil-free primer. It's okay, but I prefer the mattifying primer. My other one, which I actually have a backup of because I couldn't find the Smashbox, is the Cover FX Mattifying with Anti-Acne Treatment. This is really nice. This is a little bit lighter formula than the Joe Fresh, so it's just depending on how mattifying I want my face. But I do love this, and I do have a backup of this. And of course it is more expensive, so quite often I am reaching for my Joe Fresh. Next, let's talk about foundations. And back then my ride or die was my Makeup Forever Matte Velvet in the shade number 30. Still love this. It's what I'm wearing today. Will always purchase this as long as they keep it. But this was my ride or die. It's still one of my go-tos. One of. I do have others that on certain days that's just what I want. And there are three. Three I have are my actual 2017 favorite was Tarte Rainforest of the Sea. Love this stuff. Will repurchase it. I have it in this shade light medium beige. Love this. Next, even more expensive than that one, my Lancome Tint-Eyed All. Oh, this is so expensive. I have mine in 310 Bisque C. Love it, but very, very expensive. Of all these products I am mentioning, I would repurchase each and every one of them over and over and over again. And for my drugstore, it is the L'Oreal Infallible Pro Glow Foundation, and I have mine in the shade 202. Love this. It's almost gone. We'll have to pick up another one, but I do really like this foundation. Each one of these is different when you put it on your face. That's why I can't just break it down and say, yes, I have one Holy Grail foundation. And there's a couple more I could add in, but these are the 4 that I reach for consistent. Okay, the next item was concealer. Mine was the Avon Everlasting Light. It's no longer available, so not my ride or die. I'm out of it, so I can't use it. But when I need to conceal and I need to conceal well, this is going to seem like a never-ending cycle of people saying this. Maybe not with all the hubbub that's going on with Tarte, but Tarte Shape Tape Perfect is the one I'm using today. I do not find it gets dry under my eyes. I don't find it crepes. It doesn't crease, whatever everybody says. I will say you only need a couple dots of this. You don't need to do a huge triangle. You don't, which means this thing is going to last me forever because it is super full. Super full. And I do have mine in light neutral. I also have to order that right from Tarte because you can't get it at Sephora and we don't have Ulta's here, so I could order it from Ulta now, but I had to order that right from Tarte. Next was setting powder. Back then it was my Mary Kay translucent powder, and I no longer have that one. I might have it. It's not my go-to. I have 2. I don't have the one out. It is the ElleS High Definition translucent powder, the loose one. And then my Holy Grail Ride or Die. I've actually finished one of these, like, completely. I had to repress it because it was in the corners. I couldn't get it out anymore. I repressed it, used it completely. This is a Rimmel Stay Matte long-lasting pressed powder. Love this stuff. The only problem with this is that it has no puff, and it's right now this is a brand new one. It's sealed, and because I'm working on others I'm not opening this, but once it's open I end up having to put elastics around it to keep the lid on. But love this powder, and so affordable. Still haven't found anything that's quite as good. Next was contour, and I said it back then, I'll say it again, I rarely contour, but if I do, I always reach for my Kat Von D Shade and Light contour. Obviously it has been used, you can see some dirt, but this is the only one that I even consider using. I had the Anastasia, I didn't care. I used it, but it wasn't my favorite. This just seems so much better. And the shades are better for me. I did have cream. No, it's not my thing at all. No cream contour for me. So still the Kat Von D Shade and Light when I'm actually gonna contour. Very rarely. Then there was bronzers. Now I don't even have the bronzer that I had in that one, which was the Avon Glow in Light Bronze. I don't even have it anymore, so obviously it's not my ride or die. I actually have 2 that I absolutely love. My 2 bronzers I love, ride or die. Let's take a minute to look at how pretty this package is. It's heavy, it's got a good mirror, and it's wonderful. This is my Art Deco number $80. This you can only get online as far as I know in the States. I have linked it before. I'm able to get mine at Shoppers Drug Mart, which is an only Canadian company, and only certain shoppers have exclusivity to the Art Deco line. So this is my favorite high-end. It is expensive. This is in the shade number 80. There is a shade 50 as well, which I own that as well. Now on to the one that's a little more affordable. This is my ElleS bronzer palette, and can you tell which one I like? This shade right here. I wish they'd make just the ones that you can pop in, because you can pop these out and make your own palettes. I'm not saying I won't use the rest of these, but this shade right here was my surprise. I mean, I hit pan on it. That's amazing to me. So ElleS bronzer palette, well worth it, even if you only use that one shade, because these aren't that expensive. Now on to blush, which I am wearing that blush today. I don't know why it's so dark. That is weird. Why does it look so dark? Anyway, back then my ride or die was the Milani Romantic Rose. It's still my favorite. It's go-to. I've actually flattened a bit of the rose now, which I don't think I'll ever see the bottom of this pan. I really don't, because there is so much in here. I don't know, maybe once you get past the rose design, it thins out a bit and you can use it. But I still do use this. But I've got two that are higher priced, just a bit. So I'm actually going to swatch this. Hopefully it'll show up on camera, because I noticed this the last, in one of my videos, I was swatching it and I'm like, that looks almost exactly the same. They look almost exactly the same. Almost exact. Apparently I have a preference in shades. So, my other two are higher end. I'll start with the one that's the lesser of two evils. That's my Clinique Cheeky Pop in Rosy Pop. I actually swatched it right here. This one is a little more pink toned. My other one that I love is my Hourglass Mood Exposure, which is this one. And I almost put this in my ride or die when I did that one, because I really liked it, but I didn't think I'd had it long enough. But when I was swatching it, I noticed that this one and this one, which is the Milani and the Mood Exposure, or the Hourglass, are almost the identical tones, like almost identical. The only difference is the Mood Exposure has a shimmer to it, which I thought, obviously I have a preference in color if that's the case, because I love both those pretty much the same. The next items were highlighters, and back then I had said my Becca Opal, even though I have two Champagne Pop, and this is the poured formula. So if you haven't used one of the poured formulas, it is a cream. It is probably the only cream highlight I like. So there it is right there. I do still like this, but it's not Holy Grail. Not Holy Grail. Now it's my MAC Soft and Gentle. Look at that. That is just... Even though they have almost the same tone, the MAC Soft and Gentle is just that much lighter. And now I'm older. I don't want every little nook and cranny showing. I like that glow, but I don't want it to be bam in your face. So that's why I prefer the MAC Soft and Gentle, which is much lighter. More doable for mature skin, I guess you could say. Okay, now we have to head into our eyes. And back then, Ride or Die was my Tartelette in Bloom palette. And if you can see, it's still very loved. Still, this is the one I like to bring with me when I travel because it is secure. Love the formula. I don't have an issue with Tarte. This is my Ride or Die. But at the same time, I do have a couple of other ones that I love too. So I'm going to start off with the cheaper of them. So you'll notice something about these palettes. This, I've hit pan on a couple of the shades. My drugstore palette, go-to, the CoverGirl's True Naked Roses palette. Love this. I have completely panned one of the colors. Like, this one is gone. This one's almost gone. I've hit pan on this one. I'm very close to pan on that one. This is, even this one has got quite a bit of a dip. So obviously love this palette. The next one is my Kat Von D, and it is in my July to June year-long pan. And that could be why I'm working on it and loving it, or maybe it's the exact, I don't know. All I can say is that when I've tried to pan other palettes or I've worked on other palettes, I get bored after a while, and I'm still not bored with this one. And that's the Kat Von D Shade and Light palette. This is the matte one. I do not have the glimmer one. We'll never get the glimmer one. I love Kat Von D, but I don't see the point of the glimmer one. I just don't. And when I put this into my project pan, it is to hit pan on 3 shades. And I can tell you, I still reach for this one even though it has pan, and I'm still reaching for this one even though it has pan. Even it's very hard to see just how it's gone in. Don't ask me how that happened. Looks like I took a knife and used it, but I guarantee you it was just a brush. And this one is fairly close to hitting pan. It has a very good size dip. So I don't know that I'll actually like just toss this aside and forget about it after I've hit pan on that last shade, because I actually enjoy it. It's not one of those ones where I feel like, oh, I can't wait to get this out of my project because it's driving me nuts. No, I actually enjoy it. And the last one, I think I've gotten whatever's in my eye out. It was driving me nuts. I think so. My eye starts tearing, you know why. My last palette that I have really loved, this does not have pan showing, it does not have dips showing. This is just one of those ones that, even if I could just sit here and sniff it, it is, I don't want to say new, it's like from last year, from Christmas of the year before, but it's my Face Sweet Peach palette. I love this. The reason why it doesn't have more work on it is because I've been panning other palettes, trying to get use out of them. But I love this. Right now this is in a project and I'm trying to make a dip in Candied Peach, which is this one right here. Love this palette. I like the smell. I know a lot of people don't like the smell, but I love the smell of it. And I kind of want the peachy mattes, but for now I'm satisfied with what I have. I have so much. Next, for what you want to prime your eyes with before you put on these beautiful eyeshadows. Back then, my holy grail was the MAC Painterly Paint Pot, and still is. Still love this. Still continue to reach for it, and will continue to reach for it. Love this. Love. But I do have a backup favorite, and that is the Urban Decay Eyeshadow Primer Potion. This is in the anti-aging. I say I do not like Sin. I liked Eden. And I like this one. I'm not the biggest fan of the original. I have a little sample, and I know that that's could be that it's just that one isn't the greatest way of trying it, but I don't like it. I find it's like too thick. It feels thicker than my MAC paint pot. Don't know. I don't care for it. Next, on to eyeliners. Back then it was an Always On Point Sumatra from Avon. I no longer have it. It's gone. It's done. It is not my absolute favorite anymore. I've been showing the way. So I have two types for one of them and one for the other. This is what I love using in my tight line, and I'd probably consider buying a full size if I didn't have 100,000 black eyeliners. And that's not an exaggeration, I don't think. I have so many black eyeliners. But this is the Marc Jacobs eyeliner, and I think it's just called Black is Black or something like that. But I love this in my tight line. This is just a deluxe sample, but this stays, but it goes on so easily. It's just, it's wonderful, but expensive, and it's the only one I would buy. I have tried the other colored ones and they dried out incredibly fast. This is not dried out. I love it. For my other eyeliners, ones that I'll use on my lash line, on my bottom line, or in my waterline, are the ColourPop eyeliners. I love the gel. I love this for above my lash line. This one is in Best O. It's a purpley brown color. It's wonderful. The only problem is I think they could make these half the size so that you could actually get through them. I have to keep stirring mine up, but I have made a pretty significant dip in there because they do dry out. Once you open them, they start drying out. The pencil eyeliners, on the other hand, I love. The only problem is that they tend to break in shipment. So this is loose. I think every one of mine is loose, so you have to be very careful when you open them. This one's in the shade Brouhaha. Yeah, Brouhaha. It's funny. brouhaha. It's just a brown, but I do have the Besto. I have Edge as well, or no, Exit. It's the white one that I'm using in Project Pan. I have several of them and do love them. And as old as this is, it's still like was very soft to put on. For eyebrows, my holy grail ride or die was the L'Oreal Brow Stylist, and it is still my ride or die. I have a few that are okay, but this is the one that I will repurchase over and over again. And for brow gel, which I said ElleS last time, and it's a double-ended one. It's good, and if I had one I would use it again and again, but I do really like the Nude Sticks one. And it came with a brow definer pencil, which washed my Project Pans, fell out and down the drain before I could finish it, and it was okay. It's not my favorite, but it was okay. But the gel is quite nice, and it's got quite a small brush. Not too tiny, but not too big that you can't work with it through your eyebrows. Mascara, Essence Lash Princess False Lash Effect. Favorite. Don't even have one right now because I have so many mascaras, so I'm trying to work through them before I buy it. It is my holy grail, ride or die. Love that mascara. I think I will always love that mascara. I do not even have one that I will mention here that could be your dupe for it, because that's it. That's the one. Hey, liquid lipstick. That was a tongue twister if you didn't know. I had Ofra, and it was in Charm. I'm actually working through this in a Project Pan because you can only have liquid lipsticks for so long. Still love it. It still works really good. Will buy Ofra again and again. Love this. But there's 3 others, and I would feel bad if I didn't mention these. The first one is actually just a deluxe sample. I'm pretty sure I have a full size of this. This is Bare Minerals in Infamous. Love this. It's what I'm wearing today on my lips. Love this. This doesn't even feel like a liquid lipstick. It feels like nothing on your lips. So smooth, great coloring. I notice it dries just a little bit darker, which is fine for me. Next is my Smashbox, and these are the Always On. I'm pretty sure they're called Always On. Yes, Always On liquid lipsticks. And this one's in Baby Alert, and this one, what can I say? Love them. These ones don't have a scent. I love the applicator on these, and they do dry a bit drier than the Bare Minerals or the Ofra, but great lasting power. And last but not least, for the liquid lipsticks is my Wet n Wild Liquid Catsuit. This one's in Rebel Rose. Obviously, I have a favorite shade range. They're nudie. They could be a little more terracotta. They could be more pink. I don't like concealer lips. I don't like that. So you're not going to see anything like that. I don't like grayish either. I just don't think it looks good on me. It makes me look dead, which is the look I'm going for when I put on a full face of makeup. So, yes, these, the most inexpensive one you're going to find. But there are others. Just search. Next was lipsticks, and my ride or die was my Avon Blush Nudes. This is my perfect pinky nude color right there. Love it. This was my backup. Love it, love it, love it. Probably always will. But I do have two others to talk about, and this is more about the formula and not so much about the color. The first being another affordable variety. This is L'Oreal. This just happens to be JLo's Nude from their exclusive collections. Love this. I'm not going to swatch this on my hand, and I'll tell in another video. I had a cold sore. This was the only lipstick I was using. This is going to have to be decluttered, unfortunately, and I'm hoping that I'm able to find it again to repurchase, but I do not need to repurchase at this time. But this was in a project pan, and unfortunately I'm not going to be able to finish it because of that. Unfortunately. The next item, the next lipstick I want to talk about, the formula, is Bite Beauty. Not so much the colors. The color is okay. It's a nude. Very similar to my blush nude. This is in Sugar Cane. This is a blush nude right here. So very similar. It's the formula of them and the fact that they're food grade ingredients. You don't have to worry about whether you're ingesting something that's not good for you, that's going to harm you. So these are wonderful lipsticks. I'm so glad I tried them, even though I wasn't interested in trying them. And if you don't know, I did this in a Canadian brands video. This is a surprising brand to me. I did not know that Bite Beauty was Canadian. Now you know too. Next ones I have in here are lip liners, and this was not in my original video, and I don't know if it was because Jaclyn Hill didn't do lip liners or I just decided I didn't need lip liners. Anyway, my lip liners, because I don't have one to compare to, are two affordable ones. This one is ColourPop. This is an Oh Snap. It is not available anymore. It was in there discontinued, but there it is right there. I have a backup of this. I love this, but it's the formula itself. These are so creamy and beautiful, and ColourPop lip liners are awesome. And the other one is Milani, and this is just called Nude. It is one that you sharpen, and I haven't sharpened it yet since my last video that I did with it. And there it is there. It's the same as, nope, it's a little more pinky than the Oh Snap. Oh Snap is a little more brown. But I love these, and they're both affordable pencils. Affordable. Only a couple more items. Yay. Next lip gloss. It was my Naked lip gloss, and this was in Naked, and it's still my holy grail. Love this. There are a few that I like, but this is just, I look like a freaking pink nude display model here. There it is right there. Just a beautiful gloss, and I will have to repurchase it because I love it so much, but still ride or die. So I have gotten quite a few that are still my ride and dies. Still. when I did the video for setting sprays, I said it was Scandinavia setting sprays. So the Urban Decay All Nighter, Mary Kay, there's quite a few of them that use it. I still like this. Would I consider it my ride and die? Not for the price. Not for the price. So my ride or die is probably the Wet n Wild setting spray. I love this. You do get less, but for the amount that you're paying, you could buy probably 6 of these to 1 of these. So the sprayer isn't as good, but it's here nor there. If you have to be absolutely perfect, definitely the Urban Decay. Otherwise, this. Or name a drugstore one. The L'Oreal, the Maybelline. I'm working on the Maybelline right now. Milani, I think it's called Last Call or something like that. Awesome. Go with the drugstore one. They're cheaper. Don't go with ElleS. The sprayers suck. The stuff inside is fine. It's the sprayers that suck. But that's everything for my Ride or Die Revisited. I hope you've enjoyed this little trip down, seeing what I actually started to use again or have been using all along, and what I've decided isn't necessarily ride or die. You never know. I ask everybody to take this opportunity to actually do it themselves, especially the Mab ladies that did it the first time. I'd like to see you revisit it, and I will leave the link to Jen Luvs Reviews video where she did her revisit, which is where I got my idea from. So I don't want to take credit for revisiting this. This was definitely something I got from Jen Luvs Reviews. Much love, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye for now.